8 months pregnant. My husband took me to his darling's bungee jumping club to boost her sales. I'm terrified of heights to begin with, and my desperate pleas only earned me an eye roll from Adriana. Brandon, if your sister-in-law really doesn't want to, it's fine. Don't let me affect your marital bliss. Brandon's face was grim as he signaled for someone to strap me into the bungee cord. What are you being so dramatic about? Being afraid of heights won't kill you. I'll bring you here every week from now on, and even cure the baby in your belly of its fear of heights. I was pushed off the cliff, while Brandon and his new love interest opened champagne at the edge, listening to my heart-wrenching screams. The first thing I did after getting down was take a taxi straight to the hospital. That bastard seed, it can't be kept. I arrived at the hospital breathless, my whole body trembling. Doctor, I want an abortion, as soon as possible. The doctor who was responsible for my prenatal checkups was shocked. What are you talking about? In another month or so, this baby will be full term. Are you sure? Tears streamed down my face as I turned my head away. Yes, I don't have the ability to raise a child alone. The nurse beside her chimed in. Miss Riley, what about your husband? He's dead. He died this morning. I still have to arrange his funeral. Schedule the surgery for 3 days from now. The nurse gaped, apologizing profusely. I booked the surgery, leaving the hospital under the infinitely sympathetic gazes of the doctors and nurses. Back home, I was still repeatedly replaying everything that happened today in my mind. Ever since Brandon reconnected with Adriana, our communication had dwindled. At first, I argued and made a scene, but what did Brandon say? He said that Adriana had left her hometown all alone, and that it wasn't easy for her, and that he would always have me and the baby in his heart. Riley, you come from a good family, and you're better than Adriana in every way. Let's help her together, okay? From some unknown time, he started avoiding me to meet, chat, and eat with Adriana alone. His heart seemed to be drifting further and further away from this family. Before I could sort out my thoughts, Brandon came home. He slammed the door hard to vent his dissatisfaction. Seeing that I was unmoved, he stood in front of me, forcing me to look up at him. Riley, don't think you can do whatever you want just because you're carrying my child. Adriana is right, you're just showing off your superior background in front of me. What did Adriana do wrong? You just stormed off. Do you know how swollen her eyes are from crying? I took a deep breath, trying to keep my tone calm. So what? Brandon was stunned. Before, if he spoke up for Adriana, I would have burst into tears, asking if he still loved me. But now, I just wanted to free myself from this relationship. Since they are a good match, then I'll fulfill their wish. So, I bought a bungee jumping recharge card worth 200,000 yuan. Consider it your apology to Adriana. A 200,000 yuan bungee jumping card. Adriana has already reached into my pocket. I was thinking about how to get the money back. After all, 100,000 of the marital property belongs to me. My silence made Brandon mistakenly believe that I had defaulted to his actions. Wife, he squatted down in front of me. It's not easy for Adriana to have a job to get on her feet. Thank you for being willing to help her. I'll take you to buy back the 2 rings you like tomorrow. I suddenly realized that this person had rotted from the inside out, and could not be saved. I laughed silently. When Brandon's business failed, I sold all my jewelry to help him make a comeback. Later, when things got better, I mentioned buying a wedding ring again several times, but he refused, saying that he didn't like wearing rings. But at this moment he agreed. Wife, God knows how much I'm looking forward to the baby's birth. Adriana said she wants to be our child's godmother. What about the name? Unique? Unique Love. Adriana came up with the name too? Brandon was startled, and his answer didn't address the question. I think it's a pretty good name, don't you? My heart sank, but I agreed readily. A hint of triumph flashed in Brandon's eyes. Soon he held me, attempting to be affectionate, his eyes full of love. I disgracefully felt my eyes welling up. Brandon hadn't looked at me so tenderly in a long time. I cursed myself for being so weak, still craving Brandon's feigned affection at a time like this. The next second, Brandon's phone screen lit up. With just one glance, I saw it was a message from Adriana. Chuan, I had a nightmare. Can you come keep me company? Brandon quickly pulled me away from him, looking slightly flustered but resolutely turned and rushed towards the door. He moved so fast he almost made me fall. You go to bed early, don't wait for me. Something came up at work. He disappeared out the door before he could finish his hurried words. Brandon. I wanted to say, please don't go. But Adriana was never delicate, and she was certainly never afraid of nightmares, especially since my phone was full of bloody pictures she sent, cursing the child. Would saying it change anything? Adriana's message popped up on my phone. Don't think you can cling to Brandon just because you're pregnant. See? He'll come to me anytime I want. Then came a video that made my blood boil. Brandon's eyes were glazed, his forehead was bulging with veins, and large beads of sweat fell onto Adriana's face as she panted beneath him. Amidst the rising and falling breaths and the sounds of collision, I rushed to the bathroom and vomited uncontrollably. Brandon's phone rang at that moment. I hesitated for a moment before shakily pressing the answer button. Wife, are you asleep? Is the little one in your belly giving you trouble? I might have to work all night. I won't be able to come home. Brandon's breathing was rapid, and I could clearly hear Adriana's panting in the background. I know, I said, hanging up the phone in frustration, tears streaming down my face. The screen in my hand went dark and lit up again. Intermission. You're pregnant, and it's not convenient for you to serve him. I can tell he was starved tonight. Couldn't get enough. Oh, by the way, tomorrow at 10 in the morning, don't be late. I have an even bigger surprise for you. Adriana sent the address on my phone as her last message. I vomited everything out of my stomach. My tears and snot mixed together, and my heart contracted into a ball. I took deep breaths, forcing myself to calm down. Just 3 months ago, Brandon was decorating the nursery with me, looking forward to our happy family of 3. Last week on our wedding anniversary, he even made a candlelight dinner by hand. Wife, happy 6th anniversary. Next anniversary we can celebrate together as a family of 3. So all that happiness was just an illusion. I laughed and then burst into tears. That night, I slept very restlessly, having a lot of random dreams in my half-sleep, half-awake state. Past, present, and future, black and white fragments were awakened by a bright rainbow. When I opened my eyes, I received a voice message from Brandon. Wife, I have a surprise for you this afternoon, don't be late. I glanced at it. The location he sent was the same as Adriana's. 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon. I never realized Brandon was such a master of time management. I decided I will go to meet Adriana. When I arrived, Adriana was trying on rings. She clearly saw me, raised her eyebrows, and practically hung all over Brandon. I stood behind Brandon and watched him put his arm around Adriana's waist, his voice full of affection. Which one do you want? We agreed. You can have any except that one. Following the direction of Brandon's finger, I immediately saw that he was pointing to the one I had liked before. Adriana's face was clearly displeased, and she shook Brandon's arm coquettishly. No, I just like this one, Chuan, buy this one for me, okay? Brandon's body stiffened, and he pulled away from Adriana, his tone suddenly cold. I said anything but this one. Riley has her eye on this one, you don't deserve it. No one expected Brandon to suddenly change his face. The saleswoman stood there awkwardly, stunned, and Adriana's face was even more ghastly, her eyes looking at me as if she wanted to tear me to pieces. I loosened the fist where my nails were digging deeply into my palm, and walked forward pretending to be relaxed. It's okay, give it to Miss Adriana. I don't like it anymore anyway. It's fine to change to another style. Brandon panicked. He would twist the watch on his left wrist when he was nervous, but he quickly regained his composure. Why did you come early? The surprise is ruined. Miss, please let my wife try on this ring. Brandon, I saw it first. Adriana snatched the ring away, and held on to both of them tightly, looking ridiculous. I shrugged indifferently. Miss Adriana, what generosity. It seems the bungee jumping club is doing well. You can have it. Go pay. Adriana couldn't afford these rings costing over 10,000, and now the 2 rings were like hot potatoes. She couldn't pick them up and couldn't put them down. Adriana's eyes were filled with mist, her pear blossom-like appearance particularly endearing. Brandon frowned tightly, walked to Adriana's side, protected her behind him, and spoke to me in a frustrated tone. Honey, choose whichever one you like. This one for Adriana is a gift from me. The nameless fire in my heart couldn't be suppressed. Brandon, you never disappoint. A bitch and a dog, A match made in heaven. I wish you two a lifetime of being locked together. After hearing this, Adriana actually knelt in front of me and hugged my leg. Sister Riley, you've really misunderstood me. I wouldn't dare to take anything from you. I don't want the ring, just don't be angry. Brandon really loves you, please don't misunderstand him. Stop disgusting me. Images of them entwined together immediately flashed in my mind. I raised my hand and slapped Adriana across the face. Before I could retract my hand, Brandon's slap landed, and a burning pain spread across my face. Brandon's face was flushed, and he roared at me. Riley, what's wrong with you? Apologize to Adriana right now. She's already kneeling to you, and you're still going crazy. Brandon helped Adriana up. I couldn't see his expression. I could only hear Adriana's two-faced words. Brandon, don't argue for me. Riley is pregnant after all. I won't mind if she scolds me or hits me. I wiped away my tears, struggled to get up, took out my phone, and couldn't wait to expose Adriana's true colors. Adriana, you vicious woman, stop playing the innocent White Lotus. Here are all the texts you sent me. Before I could finish speaking, Brandon snatched the phone and smashed it to pieces. Have you caused enough trouble? If you have, go back. I'll take Adriana home first, and settle the score with you when I get back. Brandon left without looking back, supporting Adriana. As they passed me, Adriana secretly gave me a victory sign. Brandon, tomorrow you'll also receive a surprise from me, one that you'll never forget. Brandon paused, but ultimately didn't turn around. The sales associate settled me into the lounge area, and I finally couldn't hold back the tears. Scenes of me and Brandon falling in love flashed before my eyes, as if it were yesterday. When I met him, he had just experienced his first failed startup. He was particularly dejected and dispirited, sitting in a dark corner, head drooping, looking as if he had no will to live. I had grown up with a privileged family background, spoiled and loved by my parents, and my life had been smooth sailing. But I was immediately moved by the melancholy emanating from Brandon. Someone once said that whoever falls in love first in a relationship loses, and my feelings for Brandon became uncontrollable. To help Brandon start his business again, I spent all my savings, and utilized my father's connections and resources. During that time, I insisted on marrying Brandon and eloping with him. My parents were heartbroken, and my mother cried uncontrollably. Pampan, listen to your mother's advice. Brandon is not a good man. Are you going to abandon your parents for him? At that time, my mind was only filled with Brandon, and I couldn't listen to my parents' words. Seeing that I was infatuated, my father trembled with anger, raised his hand high to slap me, but finally sighed and lowered it. Go then. If you regret it one day, don't forget to come home. I pushed my suitcase and, without looking back, walked away from my parents step by step with Brandon. Pampan, don't worry. One day I will bring you home in glory. I will love you, cherish you, and use my actions to tell your parents that your choice was not wrong. During the most difficult years, I accompanied Brandon in a basement of less than 10 square meters, without sunlight all day. I got up early to go to the market, clumsily bargaining with people, just to buy the freshest vegetables, fish and meat to nourish Brandon's body with the least amount of money. I secretly sold my jewelry for Brandon. That night, he cried and held me in his arms, vowing again and again, Pampan, one day I will win the whole world for you. Brandon worked hard enough, leaving early and returning late, but still suffered the scorn of investors. I couldn't bear to see his efforts being wasted, so I contacted my father's connections without telling him, and everything began to move in a good direction. In just a few years, Brandon's company stood out and became a leader in the industry. Riley, this is Mrs. Lou, the housekeeper I hired. You don't have to do laundry or cooking anymore. Finally, he squeezed my hands. I said I would give you a good life. Your parents shouldn't look down on me now. With my current wealth, your family is probably marrying up. I understood what Brandon didn't finish saying. He began to dislike my bland cooking. He liked the rich, flavorful, and spicy dishes of his hometown. Riley, you're idle at home all day. Can't you dress up a little? Your style hasn't changed in over a decade. It's tiring to look at. Besides, you're not a young girl in her 20s anymore. You see, when love is gone, everything is wrong. My long, straight black hair can't compare to the charm of wavy curls. Thinking of this, I tried hard to force back my tears and dialed a phone number that was etched in my heart. Pampan, is that you, Pampan? My daughter, you're finally willing to call your mother. The speaker was filled with my mother's sobbing, accompanied by my father's sigh. Mom, I'll go home after I've taken care of things. Tell Dad I know I was wrong. I'll never run away from home again. I want to stay with you and Dad forever. In the end, my father took the phone and only said one sentence. Contact Dad anytime if you need anything. Mom and Dad are waiting for you at home. I hung up the phone and headed straight to the hospital. It was time for everything to end. It really was a small world. I didn't expect to run into Adriana again right before entering the operating room. With no one else around, Adriana finally dropped the act. Riley, I really underestimated you. What? You know you can't keep your position, so you came to the hospital early to protect your baby? Stop daydreaming. Even if you give birth to this little bastard, you'll end up just like me, disliked by Brandon. Adriana stroked her belly smugly. Only the child I carry for Brandon will be the Liu family's heir. Adriana, if achieving your goal means Brandon is yours, you can have him. I didn't want to get entangled with Adriana, but she started cursing me like a madwoman, even cursing my parents. I angrily raised my arm, and the next second, Adriana was kneeling on the ground, begging for mercy. Sister Pan, as long as it makes you feel better, you can beat me to death. Brandon rushed over in a panic, pointing at my nose and sticking up for Adriana. Riley, when will you stop? She's already injured. Can't you just let it go? I never expected you to be such a vicious woman. Brandon suddenly roared at me, forcefully pushing me aside. Apologize, Riley. Apologize to Adriana right now, or I won't forgive you. Do you still think you're that high and mighty young lady? As I fell to the ground, I stared at Brandon. He finally dropped the pretense. I wasn't that high and mighty young lady anymore. Over the years, I'd even lost myself. Very well, Brandon, we can finally be ourselves again. The last thing I remembered was the rush of doctors and nurses. I heard Brandon shouting, demanding they save his child. When I woke up again, Brandon was arguing with my attending physician in the ward. I'm going to sue you for lacking medical ethics. Who gave you the right to kill my son? I want your life. The doctor's collar was grabbed by Brandon, and no matter how he explained, Brandon wouldn't listen, sweating profusely from anxiety. Seeing me wake up, he looked as if he'd found a savior. Miss Riley, you're finally awake. Look at this. I struggled to sit up, my tone calm. Brandon, I voluntarily gave up the child. He shouldn't have existed in the first place. Brandon clearly didn't expect this outcome. He froze on the spot, and after a long while squatted on the ground, clutching his hair and muttering to himself. Why? Riley, why did you deprive our child of coming into this world? Weren't you always looking forward to his birth? I turned my head to the window, taking the opportunity to wipe away the tears that flowed. The child is gone. Let's get a divorce. Brandon staggered, almost falling, but fortunately Adriana caught him in time. Brandon disgustedly shook off Adriana's hand. Get out. If it wasn't for your unreasonable behavior, I wouldn't have pushed Riley, and maybe the child would still be. Adriana shook Brandon's arm, begging for mercy. Brandon, wake up. It was Riley who gave up the child. It has nothing to do with us. Don't scare me. Get out. I never want to see you again. Get out. The noise around me grew fainter and fainter. I heavily closed my eyes and slept a long, long sleep. Brandon came several times, but I kept my eyes closed and pretended to be asleep. The last time he squatted in front of my bed, repenting. Before leaving, he gently stroked my hair and said, Pampan, I've thought it through. Let's start over, okay? And we'll definitely have our child again. I opened my eyes and retorted with a distant tone. Brandon, how can you not understand? I won't have any more children with you, never. Brandon flew into a rage, pulling me from the bed and dragging me to the mirror. Riley, look at yourself. Your parents don't want you anymore. Where else can you go if you leave me? Wake up. You're not the Sue family's young lady anymore. You're just my Brandon's old wife. As long as you're willing, you'll always be Mrs. Brandon. So many people covet this position. What more could you want? Speak. Brandon pinched my face. I pursed my lips, answering him with silent tears. What I cared about was never the empty title of Mrs. Brandon. All I wanted was one heart and one mind for a lifetime. Brandon was, after all, a proud businessman. In the end, he gave me a cruel warning. Riley, reflect on your mistakes. Once you recover, I'll send someone to pick you up and take you home. Home. I thought I should go home. I checked out of the hospital a day early. When I left the city, I only took a few personal belongings. I didn't want anything else. Those things tainted with memories would remain in the old days. I was going to start a new life. Before I left the phone Brandon had smashed at home. I thought there were some things he should know the truth about. I also left a divorce agreement. Back with my parents, I felt like a child again. My parents tacitly never asked me about my previous life. Everything in my room was as it always was, as if I had never left. I spent my days basking in my parents' love, smiling more and more, and gradually becoming more plump. At an ordinary family dinner, I met Vincent, my mother's student. Hello, I'm Vincent, teacher Sher's prize student. Vincent had a warm, clean smile. He was tall and large, but standing in front of me, he didn't feel oppressive at all. I'm Riley. Vincent stuffed a bouquet of yellow roses into my arms. I know, you're the mischievous little girl who ran away from home and made teacher cry all the time. Yellow roses represent apology. I've sent them on your behalf many times. This time, you'll deliver them yourself. Vincent had a special magic. He smoothed out all my anxieties. That afternoon, the aroma of bread in the living room, the laughter and cheerful voices, made me bubble with happiness. Sunlight streamed through the window. Vincent, sitting opposite me, looked like a muse's creation, surrounded by a magical halo. Through those halos, I saw Brandon standing under the paulownia tree. He leaned against the shade of the tree, his gaze burning as he looked at me. I was startled and almost knocked over my coffee. Brandon, I had almost forgotten about him. Riley, long time no see. I wrapped my coat tighter and walked out. Brandon had lost some weight, and his face had some stubble, but it didn't detract from his good looks. Brandon had always been the handsome type, tall and slender, shrouded in a heart-stirring melancholy. You could fall into and be submerged in his deep-set eye sockets. Long time no see, Brandon. I didn't expect you to come here. You could have just mailed the agreement. There was no need for you to make a trip. I looked him in the eye, my tone calm and natural. Pampan, I'm sorry. I've been looking for you for a long time. I didn't expect you to come home. How are Mom and Dad? I should go in and pay my respects. Brandon, forget it. They probably don't want to see you. I stopped Brandon, preventing him from stepping inside and breaking the laughter and cheerful voices. Inconvenient. Brandon was displeased, stopping and looking down at me condescendingly. Well, it's inconvenient. I have guests at home. Vincent's smile flashed in my mind, and I couldn't help but twitch the corners of my mouth. Riley, I saw Adriana's messages. I'm sorry, I didn't think she would do something like that. She's always been so innocent, I thought. Brandon, it doesn't matter anymore. Let's part ways amicably, and don't come looking for me again. Brandon grabbed my hand, his tone earnest. Riley, enough is enough. I won't hold it against you that you couldn't keep our child. Our mistakes cancel each other out. Wouldn't it be good to start over? I looked up. This conceited man still didn't know where he went wrong. Brandon, I lost hope for you when you insisted I jump off that cliff. If you hadn't seen everything on my phone, you would still have chosen to believe Adriana, wouldn't you? Brandon tried to explain. He opened his mouth, and I took the opportunity to interrupt him. The child wasn't an accident at all. I scheduled the abortion as early as the day of the bungee jump. Brandon, I've suffered with you. I can't stand to see you enjoy happiness with another woman. So let's just forget about us. They say marriages without parental blessings don't last long. And it's true, they're thinner than paper. Brandon wouldn't let go of me. And in the struggle, I bumped into a solid chest. Vincent gently rubbed my head. You go inside first. The teacher will get suspicious if she waits too long. Don't worry, I'll handle this. I nodded to Vincent and quickly went inside. Behind me, Brandon tried to follow, but Vincent stopped him. I held a coffee, occasionally staring out the window. After a while, Vincent came in. When I turned to look out the window again, Brandon was gone. The banquet ended, and Vincent stayed for dinner. You could tell my parents liked him a lot. My dad even opened a bottle of wine he had been saving for years, and Vincent was a little tipsy when he left. Riley, maybe you don't know, but although we've only met a few times, you've lived in my heart for many years. I was a little surprised by this sudden confession. Silly, I won't make things difficult for you. There will be a day. Vincent didn't finish his sentence before the family driver came to pick him up. After getting in the car, he made a heart shape at me through the glass. So corny and funny. As the car drove away, I turned around and saw Brandon under the streetlight. The streetlight elongated his shadow, making him look lonely and desolate. Riley, you've fallen in love with him, haven't you? I shook my head. I don't think I can fall in love with anyone else. Not before I truly find myself. Brandon, go back to your life. You've been off your path for too long. Brandon shook me wildly, demanding an answer from me. Riley, answer me, are you in love with him? Is that why you don't want to come back with me? Is it? I pushed him away with all my strength and shouted back. Brandon, why can't you admit that you stopped loving me first? That you developed feelings for Adriana? That you betrayed our marriage first? You want an answer, don't you? Brandon, I don't love you anymore. Whether someone else appears or not, I can't continue to live with you, because I don't love you anymore. I ran away, Brandon still shouting behind me. He definitely won't divorce me. Riley, you love me. You were even willing to abandon your parents for me. How can you say you don't love me anymore just like that? I will definitely make you change your mind. For several days in a row, Brandon didn't show up again, and Vincent seemed to have disappeared from my life as well. I took some time to rest, and decided to start over. My first stop was to study abroad for 3 years. My parents were very supportive of my decision. This was originally my life trajectory. In the days leading up to my departure abroad, Vincent suddenly visited after dinner. He was wearing a muted brown velvet suit, and had a living room full of gifts. Uncle, Auntie, I know this is abrupt, but I still want to boldly ask for your permission to pursue your treasure. I was stunned. I thought he had long forgotten about that drunken confession from that night during his disappearance. Pampan, I'm sorry. I've been busy dealing with official business abroad these past few days. Now I've transferred most of the company's business to China. I can be with you at all times in the future. I chuckled to myself. How rash was Vincent? I hadn't given him any commitment yet, and he had already changed his direction of development. My parents looked at me. I knew they respected my opinion. Vincent, I'm sorry. I'm afraid I'll have to disappoint you. I took out my acceptance letter, and a wail came from Vincent in the living room. What on earth did this idiot do? No, I have to contact them immediately and try to see if there's still room for redemption. Vincent, I don't want to compromise for anyone. If we are really destined, I don't reject the possibility. My parents smiled and wished Vincent good luck. I saw my mother secretly giving Vincent an okay sign. 3 days later, I received Brandon's divorce agreement, and a handwritten letter from Brandon. The letter detailed all the moments we had spent together. A whole page was used to describe his faults, asking for my forgiveness. What I didn't expect was that in the divorce agreement, there was also a transfer of property. He even sold the company and gave most of the money to me. As I was racking my brains trying to understand, I received a call from Adriana. The call was filled with mockery and abuse as usual. Riley, you're really something. What kind of enchantment did you put on Brandon to make him give you all of his property? In the end, I got nothing. You better roll back here quickly. It's not too late to clean up after him. Adriana didn't finish her words before the phone was snatched away. I clearly heard the sound of the two arguing and fighting. Adriana cried out loudly, "If we don't have money, let's die together." I decided to go back and return everything to Brandon in person. When I told them about my decision, Vincent insisted on following me. "Don't worry, I won't interfere with any of your decisions. I just want to go to the city where you lived and experience it." My parents supported him going with me. "With Vincent going with you, your father and I are relieved. Or should we go with you?" My parents were getting old. How could I bear for them to travel? I had no choice but to bring Vincent with me. When the plane landed, the familiarity of this city rushed over me. As soon as we arrived at the hotel and put down our luggage, Vincent didn't bother me about taking him to eat something good. I had no choice but to find a local specialty to treat him. I used to come to this restaurant often with Brandon. Back then we were poor, and every time there was something worth commemorating, we would come here to celebrate. Later, as our circumstances improved, Brandon refused to come to this small restaurant with me. It's dirty and broken. I really don't know why you always like to come here. It's not presentable. What kind of delicious food can't you eat in a Michelin restaurant? Later, this place became my place of heartbreak. Every time Brandon stood me up or made me angry, I would secretly run here to eat alone. Over time, I became acquainted with the landlady, and every time I sat down, my favorite dishes would be brought out one after another. It's been a long time. The other day, the landlady looked at Vincent beside me and hesitated to speak. Same as always. He swallowed the words at the edge of his mouth. Same as always. I found a seat. The environment is a little rough, but the taste is top-notch. I was afraid Vincent wouldn't be used to the environment here. Vincent seemed familiar with the place, sitting down with ease, opening the cutlery, and mysteriously surveying the surroundings. In a moment, I'll reveal a secret to you. After the food was served, I had just picked up my chopsticks, ready to feast, when Vincent stopped me. Silly girl, look. In Vincent's phone there was the exact same position, with the exact same dishes. The only difference was that the photo only had a bowl of white rice and a pair of chopsticks. Every year, I will come to the city where you live, to feel your presence. Vincent's words were like fireworks exploding in my heart, and all the romance became tangible at that moment. Romance is about eating the food you love together, eating many, many meals. It will get cold soon and won't taste as good. Eat and go back to rest. You have important things to do tomorrow. I'll just wander around nearby. You can find me anytime. This meal was delicious. Perhaps because someone was with me, it was especially delicious. The next day when I found Brandon, Adriana was cursing at him. I've had 8 lifetimes of bad luck marrying you, Brandon. You did it on purpose, knowing how serious things were. You gave all the money to Riley, and insisted on dragging me down with you. How could you do this to me? Brandon didn't say a word, puffing on his cigarette, one after another. When he was provoked too much, he raised his fist and cursed. You stinking woman, if it weren't for your scheming, how would I have divorced Riley? You wanted to marry me. I helped you fulfill your wish, ha ha. Does being Mrs. Brandon feel good? Adriana was furious, tearing at Brandon's hair and hitting him. But she was no match for Brandon. In the end, Brandon punched her to the ground. As Adriana was rolling around on the ground, I suddenly noticed her protruding belly. She must be about 5 months pregnant. No wonder Brandon agreed to the divorce. Excuse me, I raised my voice, trying to get their attention. Riley, you've finally shown your face. Return the money. Return all of Brandon's money. Adriana rushed at me as soon as she saw me, grabbing my hands tightly, and I cried out in pain. Slap. Before I could react, Brandon slapped Adriana in the face. The force was very strong, and blood trickled from the corner of Adriana's mouth, making her pale face even more terrifying. Brandon, you bastard. You actually hit me for this woman. I'm your wife now. Bastard, wah. Adriana simply lay on the ground, rolling around and making a scene. Brandon looked embarrassed. He invited me to sit down, but there was nowhere to sit. I returned the property agreement to him. Here, this is for you. I don't want it. You earned it all through hard work. Also, how did things end up like this? It turned out that Adriana's bungee jumping club was invested in by Brandon. Adriana's mind wasn't on the club, so she didn't have the heart to manage it, and 3 bungee jumping accidents resulted in fatalities. The club was banned from operating and had to pay huge compensation to the families of the deceased, as well as a large fine. A series of chain reactions led to Brandon's company also experiencing poor management, and eventually going bankrupt and being acquired. Brandon woke up, gave most of the remaining money to me, and quickly got a marriage certificate with Adriana. Adriana, I Brandon, owe my current situation entirely to you. For the rest of our lives, we must be locked together. I want you to experience living in a basement and eating noodles every meal. Riley, I'm sorry, I'm not worthy. I sincerely wish you happiness. Go, I won't see you out. As I nodded and stood up to leave, Adriana once again scrambled up from the floor, attempting to pull my hair. Brandon grabbed Adriana and began punching and kicking her again. Brandon, what do I lack? In your heart, there's only that vixen, Riley. Shut up. You're not worthy to mention her. You aren't even a match for Riley's toenail. You bitch, watch me beat you to death. I closed the door and walked far away. The arguing inside grew louder and louder. I finally felt relieved. Everything here had nothing to do with me. Around the corner, Vincent was waiting for me. This time he wasn't holding yellow roses, but fiery red roses. I took the bouquet, tiptoed, and planted a kiss on Vincent's chin. I secretly looked up at him. The corners of Vincent's mouth were curved into a beautiful arc, and his face was as red as a cooked shrimp. Mr. Vincent, we still need a bottle of red wine. Vincent clearly understood my unspoken intentions, and with a flushed face, he quickly appeared before me with a bottle of red wine. That night, I learned that the dignified Mr. Vincent by my side was actually the chubby little boy who came to my house for tutoring every summer more than 10 years ago. That shy senior who blushed at the sight of me, yet always brought me wildflowers and wild berries. Fate, it's truly wonderful. 2 days later, Vincent flew with me to the other side of the ocean. I completed my studies at school, and he handled business at his company, accompanying me through the streets and alleys in his spare time, patiently explaining the humanities and history. I gradually developed a sense of belonging to this unfamiliar country. Vincent permeated my life with love, allowing me to be myself freely. When it was my father's birthday, we returned to China together. On the evening of the birthday banquet, I saw a missing person ad in the old newspaper at home. In the photo, Adriana was holding a boy with dim, lifeless eyes. Both of them were dressed in rags. A large reward to find the child's father, Brandon. I closed the newspaper and brewed coffee for my family. Coincidentally, Vincent was being teased by my father. Xiaoyan, why do you still call him teacher? You should try harder and change the way you address us to mom and dad soon. My mother couldn't stop smiling. Her former student had become a son-in-law, and it was clear she was very satisfied. I sat down next to Vincent with a smile in my eyes. Mr. Vincent, you need to start preparing the wedding room. I'll be graduating in a year. If I don't see a proposal ring on graduation day, it'll be difficult for you to propose again. As soon as the words fell, Vincent conjured a wedding ring from his pocket like a magician. Mrs. Vincent, I'm always ready, as long as you nod. Love is like a breeze, as long as you are willing, it's always around you.